Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. I am here with Georgiy. Today we are going to talk about NFTs. Georgiy, thanks for being with me here today.
Thank you so much for having me. So my name is Georgiy, Sekretaryuk. Last name is
Say that again?
Sekretaryuk.
Okay, I won't go for it, but that's good.
It's a bit of a tongue twister, right? Ukrainian last names. And so I'm actually a recent UBC graduate. I used to study computer science and mathematics at SFU. I dropped out for a few years. I went on and I had a smart jewelry startup. And then I moved on. I joined a provincial organization. I built and scaled an economic data platform. I went on, did some consulting work, and got more into tech. That's about a year ago. I really got into crypto. Did a bunch of crypto policy projects. And David, my partner, and we started working on some other consulting work around time, mostly around NFTs. Helping people with digital assets. There's been quite a few projects around there, and ran a political campaign. Did school, so I did a bunch of things.
It's been a few busy years for you.
Yeah, I know. But right now I'm all in on Web3. I'm wrapped up everything else that I was working on. We're building a marketplace for fans to purchase experiences from their favorite creators. It's still in the very early stages, so it's a very exciting time right now, especially when the VC market is down.
Okay, that's really good. So we're going to talk a bit about NFTs here. So first of all, I guess let's just lay the groundwork. What is an NFT?
Yeah, non-fungible token. That's a great question. I suppose a lot of people view NFTs as purely just art, but I view it as the underlying technology.
Right.
It's a smart contract that says that you own that individual piece of art or music or whatever it is. And it can be bought and sold by others. I mean, depending on the ERC, but let's just get it.
Keep it simple.
Let's keep it simple. Yeah. let's say it can be bought and sold by others, and you have the purchase history, and you know that Jared has owned this NFT project, and then now Georgiy owns it, and I can trade it on an exchange. It's connected to my wallet.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of benefits, technical benefits that come from it being in Web3 that are not available in what's traditionally known as Web2, like interoperability, things like that. We can get into that later on as we talk about why NFTs particularly are special compared to other projects.
Okay, so so often as we see, I think what's most visible in society around NFTs today is art. So maybe that's a great way for us to form this conversation. Certainly in the future, NFTs will go far beyond the limitations of art. But today, why do I want to buy an NFT versus just the screenshot of that NFT or downloading the JPEG? Why do I want to spend all this money on an NFT if really it is just a simple digital image?
Well, that's the common misconception, is that it's just a simple digital image, but it's not. It's a verifiable, I suppose, membership pass to a community or to a project or to whatever you're involved with. I will use the Adidas NFT as an example as to why NFTs are special. Yep. So Adidas NFT, they did their drop. They sold out pretty quickly at a really good price. And if you own the Adidas NFT, you get certain perks. For example, you can get access to really early products. You get shipped goods, some exclusive merch, things that people who don't hold that NFT just don't have access to and can't get. So if you're an Adidas super fan or a brand super fan, you would want to own that NFT, so then you can get access to all these really cool things that you can then resell to the general public. Okay. Now, of course, you can find that Adidas NFT and you can take a screenshot of it. Yeah. But when Adidas looks at who owns the NFTs,
it's not you.
It's not you. Yeah, you will not be on the record. It'll be on somewhere on your laptop, saved in a folder. Okay. And Adidas will not know that Jared here owns Adidas NFT and that he needs to get that drop, right? So when you verify with your vault, Adidas collected a bunch of KYC information around like your name, your email address, and all that stuff. So you can do that kind of. Do those kind of things, but generally speaking, for the majority of people, there's no digital proof that you actually are the owner of that if you just screenshot it, so you can't access benefits that holders would have.
And so I guess you're speaking of NFTs with utility, which is, I think, seems to be where the industry is moving. What about NFTs that don't have access to stuff? Because I don't think all NFTs give you special access to things. So why don't I just want the screenshot of that cool piece of art? Where's the value there? Why would I buy that, especially if it's expensive?
Yeah, I mean, but it's like, so when you're buying purely art, you're buying art on the idea that the art will appreciate in value.
Okay.
Most likely, I would hope so. You're probably not buying the art because you're like, oh my god, it's gonna tank.
Yeah, no one's doing that.
Yeah, not consciously.
Exactly.
So when you are buying art, it's like you're investing money to buy the authentic Mona Lisa, right? You don't want to rip off Mona Lisa somewhere that you can buy in like a Shoppers or something, because you're not actually owning the Mona Lisa. It's just a copy that's been printed by Shoppers. Yeah. And you can look at the paint and investigate the paint, but it's not Mona Lisa at the end of the day, and you're not going to be able to convince any experts that you own a quote unquote real Mona Lisa when it's the Shoppers Drug Mart.
I love that Shoppers Drug Mart is your context for like scamming Mona Lisas.
It's actually just popped into my mind randomly.
But hey, like that's exactly right. It's not the original piece, and so a picture of the Mona Lisa is not the Mona Lisa.
It's not.
And
no,
you cannot sell it.
No, and like with the original Mona Lisa, you can do tests, right? You can look at the paint. You can get a chip of the paint. You can look at it ultraviolet. Like there's so many tests that they do to verify paintings that are authentic or inauthentic. And the same, I mean, with NFTs, you don't really have to look at it under ultraviolet light. You just kind of see if they have the contract.
If they have a smart contract.
Yeah, smart contract in their wallet or not. And then if they're in the history of users, they've owned it at some point. If they want to say, hey, I used to own it or something like that. But at the end of the day, there's a physical record on the blockchain of who owned it and who owns it now. Yeah. And that is like you owning the actual Mona Lisa, right?
Okay. Yeah, that's great. So we hear the term often degen when it comes to NFTs, and I love this term and I hate this term. I've been a degen. I wouldn't call myself one, but can you tell us what that is? Are you a degen? I don't know.
To a certain extent, maybe. I mean, there's been so many projects. So usually a degen's somebody, I mean, when we say like degen just apes into a project, or somebody who just jumps into a project without maybe doing all the necessary research or something like that, who just like, I'm just going to throw money at it and see what happens. Or somebody who just lives and breathes it. I mean, a little bit. I've definitely had my fair share of like, oh, this looks cool. Okay, just screw it. Just throw money in and see what happens. Which is probably not sound investing advice.
Probably not.
But it's a lot of fun. It's a bit of a roller coaster when you're like, oh my god, the price is going up, and then it's going down, and it's going up. So it's very exciting. But I mean, I think now in the community, degen has become more of a, it's not a derogatory term. It's very much a bonding term for the community, where everybody is kind of in this together, trying out new things and doing crazy experiments. And the degen isn't necessarily all about just putting money to a thing and seeing what happens. I mean, it's part of that, but it's also about like building cool things. It's like, yeah, I'm a degen because I built this weird project. I don't know if it's gonna work or not, but screw it. Let's just try it out and see what happens. And you're just somebody who's just there on your own, just building and figuring out things as you go along, or I mean, putting money into projects and kind of seeing what happens there. It's all about experimentation, the way I perceive it, in my understanding.
Okay. So where do you find, if you're looking at, let's say you're like, okay, I have $10,000 and I'm going to invest, and I want NFTs are going to be my thing. How do you find NFT projects that you might be interested in investing in?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, I mean, first of all, is obviously like depending on you as an individual.
Let's say you're not a degen.
Okay, let's say you're not a degen. So you probably have a risk profile of some sort. So you probably got to look at your risk profile and try to figure out where you land. Like, are you more risk averse, or do you like risk? Are you okay with? Do you need more of a blue chip project that has some more security? Although I don't know if $10,000 is enough for that. So maybe you need to go a little bit lower. But let's say you can't afford a blue chip project, and you're going to look at just all the other projects in the market there, and you're like, okay, well, we have like thousands of projects to choose from. How do I start my assessment? I think that first of all, there's different factors that you should consider. So first of all, utility of the project. When you're looking at a project, is there some utility? Is there a use case for the project? Or are you just investing for it purely because of the art, which is perfectly fine as well. But I think if something has utility, then it's a bit of a bonus point to the project. Unless you're purely an art speculator, which is probably a little bit different. So Utility is important. Number 2 is community. If you're investing, you definitely would like the project to have a strong community.
Okay.
And
And how do I figure that out? Where do I find, if there is a community, where do I find it?
that's a great question. A community is very subjective. So first of all, the very high level metric would be to go on Twitter,
Yeah.
find the project on Twitter, see how many followers they have,
Yeah.
what their engagement is like,
Yeah.
hop into their Discord channel,
Okay.
and then see what the Discord is like, how many
Yeah.
members, what the engagement is like. You probably, if you find a Discord channel with a lot of people, but it's dead inside, it's
Yeah.
probably not a good sign.
Right.
You should probably not go for that project.
Right.
And how hyped the community is, how excited they are about the project, are all obviously important factors. How supportive they are. There's many different qualitative factors that you can use to assess a community.
Mm-hmm.
So it really depends on the individual and kind of
Yeah.
what you're looking for. Obviously, there's no clear-cut metrics of like,
Sure.
oh, this is a strong community, but this is kind of where you kind of got to look at it and be a little bit subjective and say, okay, this is my gut feeling. I feel like this is a strong community.
Right.
I gotta trust that.
And so Twitter and Discord are primary places to find the vibrancy of a community. Are there other places?
I mean, there are, but most people use Twitter and Discord.
Yeah.
You wouldn't really. There's nothing really like Instagram or Snapchat. It's not really gonna be on there.
It's not really relevant for crypto.
No. Yeah, not yet.
Right.
Instagram might change that soon.
Yeah, it's interesting because Twitter seemed to be kind of like dead in the water for a lot of millennials and Gen X, and now Twitter has risen from the ashes to the younger generation in the way in which you find all things crypto, right?
Yeah.
Which is interesting because we all thought pictures and video reigned true, and here we are in Discord, which I find incredibly unfriendly to the general user, but very active and vibrant for so many communities.
Yeah. Yeah, there are a few people trying to create other alternative platforms, but they're still in the very early stages. I mean, I also use like WhatsApp and Telegram and a few Signal, the other messaging apps where you can have group chats, but generally still Twitter and Discord reign supreme.
Yeah.
Hands down. I don't. None of the NFT projects that I've been in have had as much engagement on anything outside of Twitter and Discord as they have on Twitter and Discord. So.
Yeah. And so when you're in Discord, what is it that you're looking for? Are you just looking for just lots of chatter, or are you looking for people speaking in multiple languages? Because sometimes you see multiple languages in Discord. Is it important to you to see that they're making lots of recent announcements, a frequency of announcements? Like there's a lot of stuff that happens inside of Discord. So what is it? What is it in Discord that makes you think, oh, okay, there's some things happening here?
That's a great question. So first of all, I want to see the roadmap. Usually they have that outline in Discord, so roadmap, kind of where they're going, what their plan is.
Yep.
I want to see that the team is engaged, that they're posting actively, they're involved in the conversations in the general chat room, or in the whitelist chat room. I want to see how many people are on the whitelist. I want to see how hard it is to get on the whitelist.
Yeah.
Because all that gatekeeping is kind of, to me, representative of how hard the project might pop. If it's really hard to get on the whitelist, and a lot of people are already on the whitelist, that's an indicator that a lot of people have worked really hard, likely because they believe it.
Yeah.
And so if they believe it, the project's likely to sell out.
Yeah. What do you mean? Is it hard to get on the whitelist? How does one get on a whitelist that would make it one easy and one difficult?
Yeah, so different communities have different requirements to get on the whitelist. So one of them might be like, I don't know, just invite 10 friends.
Okay.
That's generally pretty easy. Another one might be like, also whitelist, but might be like, invite 50 friends and make X posts or share or complete this challenge or whatever it is.
Yeah.
That might require a lot more time and dedication.
Okay.
And
so if there's a lot of steps on the whitelist process, and you've seen a lot of people join the whitelist, that tells you people are willing to sacrifice their time to get on the whitelist, which means they believe in it.
Yeah.
So how do you know how many people are on the whitelist? Is that public information?
Sometimes it is. Sometimes, generally speaking, it is. Most projects do publish it in their Discord channel.
Okay.
There's some that don't. If they don't, I would probably question it.
Right.
I would ask them.
It's a bit of a red flag.
Yeah, maybe a bit of a red flag. Like, hey guys, usually you expect transparency from projects and team members.
Yeah.
And so you would want to make sure that when these people are sharing information how to get on the whitelist, you can verify that even when you complete the challenge, you do get on the whitelist, and how many people are on the whitelist.
Right.
Because if you don't know how many people are on the whitelist, and if the whitelist is full, you don't want to be completing the challenge at all. Right.
Yeah,
So if there's no transparency, to me, it would be just a red flag in the project.
So when we're looking at the whitelist, I guess, so the whitelist is kind of like the first step in being able to buy the NFT before it is created. Is that right?
Yeah, like early access.
Okay, so then I'm on the whitelist now. That basically gives me rights or the opportunity to purchase the NFT before it's publicly available. So I guess we hear this term called minting. So what is minting, and how do you go from whitelist to mint to owner? What is that process?
Yeah, I mean, if you're on the whitelist and you're going to go and you are going to mint an NFT, and you go usually to the official website. Hopefully you've landed on the official website and you haven't been scammed. I've been scammed, so.
Oh, you have?
Yeah, I know. One time I lost like 1.2 ETH or something.
Ooh,
yeah, I know.
dang.
It's quite a substantial amount. Not right now when ETH is like 2,800, but back when it was a little bit more. So that was
$4,000. That hurts a little bit more.
Yeah, that hurts a little more. But it was a great lesson.
Yes.
But in hindsight, it's actually didn't know because the official Discord channel got hacked.
Okay.
I got the link to the official Discord channel.
Right.
So
okay.
Anyways, but always make sure the link is official. Is the lesson of the story here. Otherwise, you're going to lose $4,000.
Yeah.
And so once you get the official link and you go there, it will ask you to connect your wallet. Usually, before you even, hopefully, the step that you've done, like step -1 was like creating your own wallet. You hopefully already have a MetaMask or a Coinbase wallet if you're using that now.
Yeah.
I'm really big into MetaMask, so I just love MetaMask, and I have MetaMask.
That's because you'd never used a Phantom wallet.
Yeah, well, maybe Phantom is actually better. I don't know.
Oh, it's better.
It is? Okay,
Yeah.
wow. I use Rainbow as well, but well, let's see. MetaMask is still, maybe it's just because it started so, like, I got my wallets.
It's the OG of wallets, right?
Yeah, I had it for so long now. It just like haven't. Anyways, you whitelist, get on the official website. It'll ask you to connect the wallet. There's usually a big button, so it makes it easy for people.
Yeah.
Hopefully, if there's no big button, then that's another red flag for the project. If it's not easy to connect your wallet, it's like a basic step. So then you click on that. It'll have a pop up, and it'll prompt you to connect your wallet. So connect your wallet, and then usually what the project does is they define, if you're on whitelist, is how many you can mint. And minting, I think, is just exercising the smart contract to create the actual NFT, and then you will hold that in your wallet. And it gets minted by you receive one. Usually it's a randomized version, a randomized copy. You just don't know which one you're gonna get.
So at this point, I have committed to I've committed 1 ETH. I know it's going to cost me 1 ETH to mint an NFT, but I don't know what NFT I'm going to get.
No.
I don't know if it's going to be a rare one or a special one or a common one, and I don't know if it's going. I have no idea the value of that in the future at this point.
No, you don't.
We're fully speculative here.
Yeah, this is purely speculative. So, so once you connect your wallet, you get to choose a quantity. There's usually a maximum, and you pay a multiple of the price. The price isn't too high. No. Usually most projects wouldn't do like 1 ETH. I think I was looking at statistics, and the average is like somewhere in the 0.088 range, something like that. So usually it's reasonable-ish. So you can usually purchase. People on whitelist tend to purchase a few.
Yeah.
If you really believe in the project, so you'll buy, let's say, 2 to 3. So you'll select that. You'll make sure you have enough money in your wallet to cover the costs and the gas fees associated with that.
Right.
Don't forget the gas fees.
Important.
Very important.
Not cheap if you're on Ethereum.
Yes.
Another reason to be using your Phantom wallet on Solana.
Is this sponsored right now?
Yeah, sponsored by. No, wouldn't that be nice?
Right. So, and then you click. Usually it says mint or something, and you mint, and then you have to sign in your wallet.
Approve it.
Approve it, and then once you approve it, it gets deposited. You will see the transaction occur from a null address, and the null address is just because there's no preceding individual that owned that.
Right.
It's the project that has created it, and it came from quite literally nothing null, and so it comes and it appears, and you're the first quote unquote holder of it in your wallet. And at first, initially, it may not be revealed either.
Okay.
You may buy an NFT, and usually some projects, they will have a temporary placeholder, quote unquote, a temporary placeholder. And then what will happen on reveal day is that you'll see the actual art appear there.
I've heard that referred to as a Dropbox. Is that a common term?
It's just a drop. I don't know. We don't really say Dropbox. Just say drop.
Sometimes in Solana NFTs, an actual physical item appears called a Dropbox in my wallet before I receive the piece of art.
Yeah.
So at that point, you don't know what you're getting, and then you get your NFT, and now you hopefully are happy with it.
Yep.
But it depends on, I guess, levels of rarity. What does that mean?
Yeah. Okay. Great. So let's get into rarity. Usually, and the way if you're not buying a one-of-one NFT or something unique that is pretty cool art, like a Vancouver artist, I think his name is Mike Grill Mated.
Okay.
I think is the artist. He does really cool art that it's like usually unique and whatnot. But almost all art is generative. So you have like, you'll have a character, and that character will have like 10 different skin tones, like 10 different hats, and like maybe 10 different types of eyeglasses and something. And all these combinations, permutations get mixed up, and they get fed into a smart contract at a very simplified level, and then it just randomizes it.
Yeah.
And so all these items have different probability of occurring.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you have, if you get an NFT and it gets revealed and you realize, holy shit, are we allowed to?
I guess we're allowed to say that now. Yes, you're fine.
Great. I was like, I don't know, is UBC gonna? And so you're like, holy, it's you got this rare hat that's like 1 out of 10,000. You get these rare glasses like 1 out of 10,000.
Yeah.
And so on and so forth. And if you realize that you have all these rare things, that means your NFT will have a really high rarity, because the probability of you getting the combination of all these items is very, very low.
Right.
And so there just isn't going to be as much like that on the NFT market. On the other hand, if you get something common like a green hat, and like 100 others have a green hat, or 1,000 others, then you're like, oh wow, there's nothing really cool about it, so it's not as rare. It's more common. And so of course, as an investor, you hope, and if you're on whitelisting or minting, you hope you're going to get the high rarity one, because that's the higher value. And if you're investing money, then you would like to buy something with a higher rarity, and invest money into that, ideally in a project, rather than just buy something common, because then you're depending on the floor price more so than the actual uniqueness.
So when you go on to OpenSea or any of these NFT marketplaces, you always see floor price. So is floor price the lowest price of the cheapest NFT in that collection, or is it the average price? Or what does that actually mean?
Yeah, so I mean, it's not necessarily the lowest price of that NFT, because somebody could list it on an auction, and then when you list an NFT on an auction, you can set a duration for a time frame, and then let's say you list the floor price is 1 ETH, and you listed an auction for a week, and you say that every day it doesn't sell, I want the price to decrease by 0.1 ETH. You might find yourself the floor price might be 1 ETH, and you might be selling your project for 0.8 or 0.7 below the floor price.
Right.
But with the floor price, it's the minimum listing price that you can put for the project. So you can't list for anything below that, even as an auction or whatnot. And it's a factor of the volume and of the selling price of the project.
Okay.
If a lot of the projects are selling below the floor, then the floor is going to go
so
down.
Who decides the floor price? OpenSea as the marketplace, are they dictating the floor price, or am I as the NFT creator dictating what the floor price is?
Oh, certainly, if you could dictate the floor price, that would be incredible. That sounds like market manipulation.
I mean, we're in crypto here, so anything's possible.
Yeah, anything's possible. No, unfortunately, you can't dictate the floor price. It's
Right.
I wouldn't argue it's not really a factor of OpenSea dictating the floor price. I mean, they don't really have a hand in it, but it's more so a value of the community and what people are buying and selling it for,
Right.
and just the market dictating.
So the market
price.
is determining what the floor price is based on what is selling and the volume and things like that. Okay.
Yeah. Generally speaking, it's volume and sales price. Those are two very important factors. Yeah, those are. We can get into the details of it.
Yes. Okay, I want to end on one other thing. So this is the kind of the whole minting process. What about an NFT that exists already? It's already on OpenSea, and I want to go buy it. Can I just buy it, or do I need to remint it? Do I need to do anything other than just push the buy button? How does that process work?
Yeah, if there is an NFT on OpenSea that you like, first of all, you got to determine if it's up for sale. So if it's listed or not listed. If it's not listed, you're out of luck.
Yeah.
Unless you can find a way to contact that person
Yeah.
and somehow get them to list it. But let's assume not. So then your only other real option is listed NFTs.
Yeah.
And if you want to buy a listed project, you can bid on the project, and you can bid below the floor price or below the listing price of the project and see that person will accept the bid.
Yeah.
And if not, I mean, you can also just buy it outright at the price the person is listed at.
Yeah.
You do not need to remint the project. It's already been minted. It's already been created. It's out there. You're going to be the next person in the contract history who owns that project.
Yeah.
And like on OpenSea makes it easy to see the contract history because at the bottom of each NFT, if you scroll down, I don't remember what it's called exactly, but it's like a history tab, and you can see who owned it,
How much
who
they
transferred
paid.
it, how much they paid, how many days ago it was minted, all those details about the project history that are stored in the smart contract.
Yeah.
NFT and OpenSea, just pulls it out and they show it to you.
Yeah. Okay. I actually have one more thing to bring up. So what we often see also in NFTs, or the value of NFTs, is the fact that the creator can retain some type of earning in perpetuity from the resales of that NFT. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so this is actually the really cool part about NFTs that I think for creators.
Yes.
When you traditionally sell art, you kind of sell your Mona Lisa and you're done.
That's it.
That's it. Or you die, and then Mona Lisa gets sold. You really get nothing. So I'm really sorry for your estate there, Leonardo. But nowadays, usually with smart contracts, you have a lot of flexibility around who gets the money and how much they get the money and whatnot. And so a lot of artists, they value their art, and so they usually there is a certain royalty that goes from each sale of each NFT. So, for example, on the initial mint, usually the project owners get all of the funds. Some of that might go to a treasury. They set aside, and that might be used for different things that have been defined. And then after that, in a smart contract, there's usually, there could be, depends on the project, but there could be, for subsequent sales, the person who sells that could get a cut like 90%. And then 3.5% will go to OpenSea, and then the other, 6.5% could go to the treasury or the creator who has built that. And so every time a piece is sold, a person is getting at 6.5% of that sale. And so the subsequent sales and the secondary market volume is very important, very critical. Most projects actually make more money on the subsequent sales and secondary sales than the initial mint.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to use this as a very obvious example, but Bored Ape.
Yeah. Yes.
That's like, it's sold for 0.08 or something initially, and the resale value on that at like...
Six figures.
Yeah, 6 figures, 7 figures, 8 figures.
Yeah.
It's crazy amounts of money there. So, and it's all in subsequent sales.
Yeah.
There wasn't really nobody initially was like looking at it and being like, yeah, we're going to make a lot of money in the initial launch, or kind of experimenting, and then it blew up. And I mean, people will argue that they could predict it would blow up or not, but honestly, I don't think you could have predicted that 3 years ago, 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So but subsequent sales is really what's funded them, right?
Yeah.
And so that's the power for creators.
Yeah, that's great. This has been a super helpful conversation. Kind of understanding what is an NFT, a little bit of stuff about the smart contract, earning NFTs. Earning revenue off of NFTs, and then just trying to figure out like what is a community and how is it valuable and why do we care about that kind of stuff has been great to chat about. I really appreciate your time. It's been great chatting with you, Georgiy.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Jared.
Thank you.